Firewalls are arguably one of the best methods of protecting your computer, yet very few people understand them. I would suggest that the reason for this is because Microsoft does a pretty good job of implementing firewalls within their Windows operating system. Windows firewalls has been part of the operating systems since its introduction in Windows XP Service Pack 2, and over time its functionality has increased. As a basic description, a firewall is designed to either allow or deny network traffic based upon a set of defined criteria. So these criteria could be a predefined set of default rules, or could be user created, or even combination of two. These rules are often referred to as access control entries, ACEs, and group of them form an access control list, ACL. So these criteria could then be applied to outbound or egress traffic or inbound or ingress traffic. So understanding that a rule can be applied in each direction is important to know. For example, you may be troubleshooting a connectivity problem between two devices, so you will use the commonly used ISMP tool known as ping signs. ISMP can be used for malicious purposes, and Windows Firewall blocks it by default. So you are aware of this and enable an outbound rule to load the traffic out, but you get no responses back. This is very likely due to an inbound rule preventing ICMP traffic back into your PC. So in this screenshot, we can see the result of two attempts to ping the IP address 8.8.8.8, which belongs to the Google's public DNS server and is commonly used by IT support staff to test connectivity to the internet. So we can see that the ping command at the beginning of this screenshot is useful. Successful actually. Before running the command the second time, I enabled an outbound firewall rule that blocks ICMP traffic. As you can see here, the second command does not elicit the same result as the first one. So a number of firewalls read through their rules in a sequential manner. So they read the rules in order until they find one that matches, and then apply that rule and doesn't carry out any further processing. So what problems could arise from this? So we have two rules. Let's look at the pseudo firewall rules. So the first rule is block all inbound traffic from an IP address between 10.0.0.1 and 10.0.0.10. And the second rule is allow all inbound traffic from address 10.0.0.5. So the firewall will look for a match for rule 1 first, and if no match was found, it will then move on to check out rule 2. If a match was found against rule 1, then it will block traffic and not even look at rule 2. So that's a real and good, but what happens to any inbound traffic from 10.0.0.5? Despite that address explicitly being allowed at the rule 2, it matches a certain criteria at rule 1, so it will be blocked. So a better way of doing this would be to reverse the order of the rules. So the first rule will be allow all inbound traffic from IP address 10.0.0.5, and the second rule will be block all inbound traffic from an address from an IP address between 10.0.0.1 and 10.0.0.10. So by reversing the rules, any inbound traffic from 10.0.0.5 will be received by the firewall and compared against rule 1. So in this case, rule 1 is a match. So the traffic is allowed and rule 2 never gets checked. So Windows Firewall is an example of host-based firewall. So a host-based firewall is one that is either built into the operating system or installed on the device. So the limitation of this is that you need to configure the firewall on each device, and it only protects that device. So one saving grace if you are in a domain environment is that you can deploy these settings to each machine using a group policy object actually, not project. A network-based firewall, on the other hand, provides protection to all of your networks and monitors traffic going in and out of the network. So this may be through the dedicated hardware device or as a feature on another network device such as a router. In an organization, you may find network-based firewalls are in operation between your own networks and not just between your internal network and the outside wall. So reading as you can see in the screenshot, you may be thinking that a network-based firewall is a better of the two as it protects the entire network. However, now I will write some diagram here. Let's open our diagram. Oops, draw you here. Can you see it? Yes. So let's increase the size a little bit here. As you can see here, so we upon that, so let's go to new page here. So now I will create an firewall diagram here for better understanding and illustration. So let's create, we need for this, we need actually two computers, one firewall and one cloud and one router. So here let's create that diagram like computer here. So this will be our computer one. Here computer A, and this will be our computer B. Here. So these two computers connects to router here. For example, like that. So these computers connects to this router. 1, 2. Oops. 1. Here. 1, 2. Here. And this router here, this router connects to firewall, network-based firewall. For example, here. So this is the network-based firewall. Network-based firewall. Let's make it bolder. And so this router connects to this network-based firewall here. Let's actually decrease this size a little bit. And this firewall goes to internet. Here. Internet. Actually. Internet. So this firewall then goes to internet. So as you can see in this diagram, you may be thinking that network-based firewall is the better of the two as it protects the entire network. However, look at this diagram here. So and actually let me watch this. Is this recording? Yes. So however, look at this diagram. So as you can see here, and pay particular attention to the placement of the firewall here. So it's only inspecting traffic that transmits through it. But what will happen if computer A here is compromised from attacking computer B? If this computer A attacks to computer B, then what happens? So is host-based firewall better? So it will certainly prevent the present injury where computer A here attacks to computer B. But it certainly prevents the present injury where computer A attack computer B, of course, but it leaves your network susceptible to an attack from outside. So then internet can attack to your computer A or computer B without this firewall. So you may be thinking, that's okay because the host-based firewalls will protect the system. So this may be correct for some systems, but not all network devices have the capability to have a host-based firewall. A lot of Internet of Things devices are prime example of this. Because of this, it recommended to any network you run has both host-based and network-based firewalls to provide what is known as defense in depth. So careful consideration needs to take place in respect of positioning the network-based firewalls to ensure that there is no gaps. And there is no gaps and to allow you to play your roles out adequately. So actually in next lecture we will we will cover the various different types of firewalls in more detail in this course actually, but for now I would like to look at the built-in Windows firewall. So in next lecture we will create and edit our built-in Windows firewall. So I'm waiting you next lecture.